Hello and welcome to our podcast, The Ups and Downs of a Small Business Owner, where we hope to show you exactly what it's like to grow a business. Today, I'm with Shane Traynor, connector, speaker, author, award winner. Is there anything else?
I think you just about summed it up. Thanks for having me.
So, how would you describe yourself, Shane?
I would describe myself as an extrovert, a networker, a connector, someone who really cares about other people and puts people first.
Okay, so have you always been like that?
Yeah, I definitely have. I've leaned into it more so when I've gone into a business because it's helped my business out a lot. Anything that I've done since starting out in business, it's helped me achieve what I've wanted to do so far and lean on my network that I've built.
I guess how early would you say you had a network?
I started to build my network only in around 2021. So actually relatively new, to be honest. And before that, I was working in a school as an IT technician and I didn't have a network at all. Yeah. In business, or I didn't really know anybody. I mean, I'm mainly in the property sector. Didn't know anybody in property. The only person I knew was my nan who used to flip a few houses.
Right.
Yeah.
So was that your inspiration then?
Yes and no. She was the only person in the whole of both sides of my family that had any sort of entrepreneurial flair. She'd owned pubs, she'd owned laundrettes, like corner shops, and then she got into flipping houses and she became a landlord. So, but without all these terms like a buy-to-let landlord or house flipper, she just seen it as a way just to create wealth and make some money on the side. She was a district nurse full time, but she did that and flipped a few properties on the side because she knew there was money to be made.
So I guess let's go. You said you were an IT at school,
Yeah,
IT technician.
yeah.
What what made you leave?
Well, I went traveling for 3 years, 2017, and during that time, COVID came about. COVID crops up a lot, doesn't it? In these, I've listened to a few your podcast episode, and it's almost like sometimes COVID is such a defiant point in someone's life or business. It seems.
It's an easy thing to go back to.
Yes.
Everybody remembers it. It was a huge change for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
So it's quite a nice go to.
Yeah.
Wouldn't say it's nice, but
Yeah. Well, if I'm honest, without COVID positively changed my life because without it, like I was stuck in New Zealand of all places during COVID, which to be honest wasn't the worst place because we was in and out of lockdown within 5 weeks. And during that time, I was like, well, what am I going to do when I go home? Like, I don't want to go really back to IT. It's the only thing I've ever really known. I hate it. I'm crap at it. And it's almost like the lower end. It's like IT technician, which is like the lowest paid support role in the school. And I was thinking, actually, how can I start to build wealth and get rich essentially? So I literally Googled that, how to get rich and wealthy. And it came up with a few YouTube suggestions, a few videos, and a few book recommendations. So I'm sure you and a few of your listeners have heard of the likes of Rich Dad Poor Dad, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, all that sort of stuff. So I then went out to a used bookstore, purchased some used books, and just read those ones that I've mentioned. Those are like the first three that I purchased, and then I just read those, and then my mind was just blown about actually this is possible. And then just from there, I started connecting with people on Instagram who I watched their videos on YouTube and just reached out and said, hey, really liked your YouTube video. From there, they invited me into a WhatsApp group with some local business owners in the UK. But by the time I got home to the UK, which is August 2020, we're still in lockdown and I needed a job. So I did go back to the school. But whilst I went back to the school, I continually educated myself and networked online with other business owners. And I was like, right, well, the way to get rich and wealthy is to go into business and property. So that's what I sort of did. And that was the start of my entrepreneurial journey, if you like.
so were you scared?
No, not in the slightest, because the journey ahead was going to be better than where I was,
Right.
if you like. Yeah, because if I didn't move forward and learn and understand how money works, etc., I'm just going to be stuck in the same place on the same low wage and be miserable. So the only way to go was to learn about entrepreneurship.
Fair enough. So I guess if we go back to you as a younger person, I guess possibly school age, what was the dream? What did you want to do?
An international DJ and producer.
Do you do DJing? Or?
I do still DJ, yeah, on the odd occasion, and I did do that full time at one stage in my life before. So I did work at a school, then I quit that. This was around 2015. I started DJing in 2013. 2015, I quit my job for about 8 months. That's how long it lasted. So my first international gig was in Iceland, of all places, the country, not supermarket.
Market.
Yeah, I just got booked to DJ in a super. Well, people have DJed in Greg's before. I've seen it happen in London, of all places. But I went into that full time for a little bit. I got some records released on some sort of the prolific house and techno labels, which is what I DJ and produce. And I found I got bookings outside my city than inside my city in Birmingham. And that's what I wanted to do, going full time. And that sort of the gig started to dry up because I needed to produce more music. So then I went back into IT, and from like start 2016 then into 2017. And then I just got a load of anxiety from doing it because the pressure of, I think I put too much pressure on myself, and I found the industry very cliquey as well. And it's a creative industry, so you hear how like Hollywood's very like dog eat dog, and the music industry is very much the same. And you have to kiss a lot of asses to get some places, if you like. And that's what I just could never get on board with that, and go into like after parties at 5 a.m. and doing certain narcotics and whatnot. It just wasn't my vibe. I was genuinely in it for the music because I loved it, but I just didn't get on with that side of it. So that's when I had a bit of an anxiety attack and a bit of a breakdown, and that's when I decided to go traveling then. But I mean, I still like DJ because I love DJing. Yeah, but that's what I want to do. But coming back, I was like, it's like such a very, very small percentage actually do make it a success. Not to say I won't go back and do it full time, but who knows?
And I guess doing it, there's something different between doing it as what you love and what you enjoy doing, and doing it as a full-time job or to get paid to do it, and you're chasing the money, because then you're almost stuck to what is popular and what works rather than what you want.
Yeah,
You're comfortable with.
yeah, you're absolutely spot on. And that was one of the difficult things, because when you start out, you don't really get paid to DJ. It's always like, I mean, there was time I'd never done this, but there was some promoters that were getting DJs to pay to play the opposite way around. And I think that's disgusting. Like you've put in all these hours and effort to learn an art form and learn a craft, for you have to pay to play. That's nonsense. Luckily, I never got to do that. And funny enough, when I went to Australia, I reached out to a few local promoters and some venues, and the Australians are so nice, and they gave me paid gigs. My first ever gig in Australia, I just reached out to them when I moved to Melbourne, and they gave me a paid gig straight away. They was like, "Yeah, come and do it. We'll find you a slot in 2 months' time," and it was brilliant. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, a few people say that. Spoke to a few comedians, and they say that Australia is so much better, and it's a very different vibe, and it's like the place to go
Yeah, I'd highly recommend, if you're below the age of 35, get on the Australian working holiday visa and go and do like 2 or 3 years out there
and enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I know we're jumping around a little bit. If we kind of go back then to the people around you, your network, how important have they been in your journey from start?
Yeah, so the guy that I co-host the developers network with, to give a shout out to him, he took a chance on me to get me into the world of property development. Well, there was him actually and another guy who ran a property development training company, and they did lots of online meetings during COVID. And then I reached out to him and I said I wanted to run an in-person networking event with no experience in property development. And he said, yes, you can do it on the provision you run it with a developer. And then I found the developer, Steve, my co-host now. And then I was working at the school at the time. I met with him at his latest site that he was building. And he said, go and quit your job, come and work for me. I'll teach you everything I know about development, I'll mentor you, and we'll launch the developers network together. So that was the start of my networking journey, and someone who helped me massively in my start of my career, the entrepreneurial career,
So,
if you like.
so the developers network, how did you get into that then? So you're still working
Mm.
at the school and you wanted to do a networking group?
Yeah, so because I wanted to get into property and more specifically property development, I was like, well, how can I get in a room full of developers and like absorb as much knowledge and make contacts and friends and people I can learn from people as quick as possible? I was like, to me, the opportunity to host a networking event called the Developers Network to bring developers to me rather than me trying to go out and find them and cold message, that seems like the best way to do it. So then Steve, who was already an established developer, he wanted to grow his network for knowledge, skill, and money, essentially, like investment. And so we kind of worked together like that, and then we was like, well, let's launch the developers network to bring people to us, and we've been running it for just over 4 years now, and we get about 80-90 people every month attend. It's growing.
So I guess what is what is the developers network?
The Developers Network is an educational networking event for property development. So whether you're brand new to property or you're a seasoned developer, we want it to make it the leading event in the Midlands for that. So we have monthly speakers. So that could be someone to talk about their scheme. Last month we had a guy who's just completed on a grade 2 listed commercial conversion into 8 apartments, and the challenges he's had, the wins, the losses, how much money he made, how much money he lost at the beginning, etc. We have like planning consultants, lawyers, accountants do talks on tax structures, on how to form a better tax structure to set up your property development company. If you've got a build company as well, like how can that work? So we get industry speakers to come in and talk about that. And then there's obviously a networking element to that. So we have a before, and then we have a break, and then we also give the opportunity for people to give a 10-second pitch in the room so they can promote their business and what they do.
So 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's called short and sweet, and you win a chocolate if you get it in under 10 seconds.
Fair enough. I'd say that's quite tough. Like 30 seconds is
Yeah.
probably enough.
Yeah, I mean, we say we have it on the screen. It's what's your name, what do you do, and who are you looking to meet? So I would say, hi, my name is Shane Traynor. I am the co-host of the Developers Network Birmingham, and I'm looking for more developers to connect with to come to my event.
Smash it. So you get a chocolate.
Short and sweet. I get a chocolate.
So I guess from somebody who's inexperienced in networking, I've been to events and things like
Yep.
that. It's pretty scary going, and it's quite intimidating. You walk into a room, you just said 80 people in that room. What would your advice be?
Yeah, I love this question because naturally, the majority of people I speak to find networking quite daunting. But the one thing to keep in mind, and this is from a mindset point of view, is that everybody at that networking event most likely has, or the large majority has the same feeling as you. So they're in the same boat, and they're all there to do the same thing as what you are, network and meet new people. So it's the whole point of the event. So if you keep that in your mind to say, well, actually, I'm in the same boat as everyone in this room. They're probably just as nervous as me, just as shy as me. But the way to tackle that and getting stuck on not what do I talk about, it's never about talking about what you do. It's talking about what the other person does. And this is in How to Win Friends and Influence People, is to talk as much as you can about the other person, because naturally, as human beings, we love talking about ourselves. So if you can get the other person to talk as much about themselves and their business, what their hobbies are, what their favorite destination is, what their challenges are in their business, you'll grow rapport and build a relationship quicker than what you do asking about the weather.
Smashed it.
Yeah.
So also on that then, if you, again, I've turned up to some of these events, you have your cliques, you have your little groups, they all know each other, they've all been there before. It's really hard to talk to them because they're already talking about the kids, the dogs, pets, the families. How do you get into that conversation?
Well, yeah, it goes back to these, these cliques have been established because the people have continued to go to the event. So if, for instance, you continue to go to an event and then someone new comes 6 months down the line, they'll see you as being in a clique, but you will probably say, it's not cliquey, promise. So there was one stage at our event where someone said that your event's clicky, and it was their first time it come across as clicky. Really didn't like that from a point of view that it kind of upset me a bit, because there's no way, shape, or form we want our event to be clicky. So what we did was we put a slide up every month that says something like, "Is this your put your hand up if it's your first time to this event?" So we get every newbie their first time to put their hand up, and what we say says, right, everybody who comes to this event quite regular, make note of these people and go and introduce yourself and make them feel welcome, because we're an inclusive group and we don't want cliques. So the way I would combat that is two things. One is to continue to show up and slowly build those relationships. It's just like, imagine your first day at school. There's going to be, like, first day at secondary school, there's probably going to be cliques from people that have transitioned from another primary school into secondary school. They're going to stick with their mates they know in primary school. But then by the end of year 11, when you've left, you've become friends with them. So it's because you turn up every day, right? And the second thing is, I would say, just go and introduce yourself to the group, and you can do that. There's a bit of psychology behind it. So imagine I'm sitting here, there's a person to my left, and there's a person to my left, and then my right, and there's a little bit of a gap. That suggests that that group is just open and not in a private conversation, and they're open to talk to. So what I do is I just go up to that group and go, "Really sorry to interrupt, guys. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to meet some new people. What's your name?" Left. What's your name? What's your name? Brilliant. Continue your conversation. Hope you don't mind me listening in. And 90% of the time, roughly, someone to my left or my right will just turn to me and say, "Oh, so what do you do then?" And then there'll be two talking and me and the other person talking. And again, everyone in that group is there to network. And if anything, if they're talking to their mates, they're doing themselves a disservice, because they need to be meeting new people. So they don't know what they're missing out on. So it's having that mindset. Say, it's great to initially go to events to continue to meet some established connections and build on that relationship, but it's also equally important to meet new people as well, and having that in your mindset.
Perfect. I don't think I can go into that anymore. I think that's come quite long because, as I say, I've been to networking events. I've done a few. I always remember the first one I went to.
Mm.
I went in, didn't know anyone, couldn't talk to anyone. I was petrified, pretended to be on my phone. I went and took a phone call and then went home.
Oh,
Like,
makes me sad.
yeah, obviously I was quite young and naive.
Of course.
Big business owners, intimidating and scary and things like that. And now I look back and they weren't necessarily, it wasn't Apple, it wasn't Tesla,
Yeah.
Elon Musk wasn't there. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
they were just normal business owners, but they knew each other and I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to start or to approach that. So I do think there's a huge thing in anybody new joining one of these events. Like, here is like just a slip of paper. Go and say this to 5 people.
That's it.
Once you've done that, you'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. And that is the underlying issue when companies just say to their staff or their BDs that are inexperienced, or business development managers that are inexperienced, just go out and network. Like, where there's no training behind that. Like, just go out doesn't mean anything. Just turn up. You can't expect just to turn up an event and get sales. That's not how it works. I was saying to an individual last night at a networking event, attending a networking event is planting seeds. It's the planting of seeds, the events, and then it's the follow ups. And the next event you see them at is the growing of the leaves and the branches. So the first event you go to when you meet new people is the seed planting.
Yeah. And I think that was also my thing.
Mm.
You going to an event to sell. Like, I was like, where do I find sales? Okay, brilliant. I'll go and talk to people and sell to people. Hi, I can do your accounts.
Yeah.
Do you want the price? Nobody.
It's an immediate turn off.
Yeah.
They're not interested. They're like, who are you?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I think there's probably some sort of stigma behind it, or something that's what you're going to do. You're going to sell, so you need to try and sell.
Yeah. There's definitely a difference between a salesperson and a business development person, and they can get mixed. A salesperson, this is how I would differentiate them. A salesperson is someone that is quite happily to sit behind a desk all day and just pick up the phones and hammer 500 calls. A business development person is someone that will continue to go events, do warmer approaches, and build relationships. It's in the title. business development, it develops over time. Whereas sales is literally like picking up the phone, walking into shops, handing out lift, all that sort of stuff. It's whether you can go in aggressive or not. They're definitely different, and they can be like cross intertwined. Like sometimes business development managers do a bit of both, but business development is nurturing. And I always say to CEOs and directors and BD managers, if you like, if you are employing someone for that role, you need to you employ them to go out to events. You need to give them, if budget allows, at least 18 to 24 months. You have to give them a chance because, especially land managers, like when they build all these relationships with landowners and then they get sacked after 12 months and then it only starts to come to fruition, that deal that they start, that plant that the seed that they planted 12 months ago, and it's unfair. BDs have a hard time.
Yeah.
They really do.
So you did mention you talk about numbers and stuff at the events. How important is it knowing your numbers?
What sort of numbers? I mean, attendees.
Let's start with attendees.
So in terms of how many we get attend per month. So we get the events that we have that have about 80, 90 people. They're great. We've had events where we get a drop off to about 40, 50. They're also great, even though I think sometimes it can be a bit of a vanity metric. Now, obviously, we do need to make sure we're not losing money to put these events on. But sometimes the smaller events can be the best, the most intimate ones, because we've found that some of our attendees can get around the room a bit more and speak to more people rather than the ones that are just very crowded. Yeah.
And busy. On the other side then, knowing your numbers financially, monetary wise, like how important has that been?
Yeah, it's crucial because I don't want to pay to go to these events, if you like, but at the same time, so for instance, I'll be honest, in November we made a loss for that event. It was, I don't know why, we did everything. We had over 100 people in October, which was our 4-year anniversary. And November we'd made a small loss, a couple £100. But then people say, like, when an individual spoke to me afterwards, when I mentioned it to them, they said, "Oh, like that's annoying, isn't it? Like, why do you even do it if you don't make that much per year?" And actually, it's not the actual. Even though making money from the actual event itself is great, what I have got from it outside of that is even better. So, for instance, some of our partners that sponsor the event, for instance, there's a company, it's a prop tech firm, they're called Searchland, and it's a way to find off market sites, etc. Yeah, that's a £3,000-4,000 a year package that we get in exchange for partnership. So I get stuff like that from it as well. I get preferential rates from some of our partners. I've gotten free services in exchange for partnership. So it's not just about the money you make from the event, if you like. So we do look at it from a traditional business point of view, profit and loss, but we also have to factor in actually what have we got outside of that that's actually made us more money than the event from our connections that we've made over time. My co-host, he raised a £450,000 capital investment because he talked about his project in the room. Someone come up to him afterwards and said, "I'll invest." So that stuff doesn't really get talked about as much.
It opens them doors.
Absolutely, yeah.
And how do you can't put money to relationship.
No, definitely
The
not.
relationships you've built, the people, the contacts, and they say that's the most valuable thing you have is your black book,
Yeah.
names and contacts.
Well, I say running an event, a successful event over time it's almost like it's an infinite ROI, and it's a return on time invested because it does take a lot of time to run events. There's a gentleman that's recently started a new event. He's doing a business one, and he spoke to me. He's just done his first one, and he got about 40, 50 people, which was great numbers for a first event. And he came up to me the other day after the event, and he said, "I don't know how you've been doing this for 4 years. That first event was really tough because there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of moving parts.
It's all the prep work. It's all the getting things organised, ready, and then actually on the day doing the speech, doing the conversations, trying to make sure everyone's talking, trying to. I guess you put so much pressure on yourself in the build up for that couple of hours.
Yeah, Definitely. We did more so at the beginning for sure, because we wanted this to be a success, and there was no half measures. It's like how you do something is how you do everything, and we wanted to be like, there's so many events where we're based in the West Midlands, property events. We wanted to be different from everybody else. We wanted to make sure we were delivering quality speakers and not so much the quantity of the attendees, but by you putting on a quality event and charging it correctly, the attendees come then.
So I guess talking about just everything, what has been your biggest failure?
My biggest failure, what my biggest failure be? I think with failures though, they're good experiences, aren't they? Really.
Absolutely.
But my biggest failure, I wouldn't say. Would I say it's a failure? And you only a failure. That's okay. I'm going to say it because it's recent. But so I recently got out of an architect practice. So grew that from. I was a 50% shareholder in an architect practice, and I grew that from November 22 till May this year, 2025. And we grew that from just me and my ex-business partner all the way to, it was about 11 staff. And that was and in fact, the 11 staff only came about within 7 months. That was just, we grew very, and that was off the back of networking, funny enough. And that was really difficult. And then my business partner decided that he wanted to go traveling for 3 years this year. And I'm business development. I'm not an architect. So I was like, I didn't want to run the risk to run the business without him when he's the architect. Now, we didn't have a management team in place. We've got staff, but none of them are management. You couldn't give someone a project and go, yeah, I'll run with it. They weren't experienced enough. So I made the decision over a weekend to resign and let him go traveling, because we're at both different paths in our life. So I think I'd have to say that's my biggest failure, because I lost my purpose. It's like I woke up every day when I was in the practice, fire in my belly, ready to go. I was excited that I was growing something, growing a team. It's not lonely. You know, you've got you can bounce off each other. So then, literally overnight, in like May this year, like not waking up, going, "What's next?" No idea what I'm doing, and then just being miserable in the mornings mentally. Yeah, that's been mentally difficult for me this year. So even though it was a choice, but it felt like the only logical choice for me, because I think the risk of running an architect business without the lead architect is setting me up for failure. So it kind of felt like a failure, because I put so much blood, sweat, and tears literally into that company for it to just me to not do it anymore. Looking at the positive side, I learned so much about business. I learned so much about the 3 pillars of accounting. You know, I read a book called Small Business, Big Profits, and that taught me a lot about accounting. And growing a team as well, and how one of the most difficult things in business, in my opinion, is people. Yeah, I mean, that would probably have to be my biggest failure, if I'm honest. Yeah, I mean, you could argue that DJing was a failure as well, because I didn't become an international star. So but that was a choice that I was like, that lifestyle isn't for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talking about like you and a co-owner, like how would you approach that differently in future?
So I'm going to be launching a new business next year with another co-owner. So we decided to get together and launch a business in Q1. And he approached me and we sat down for a few hours. And one of my biggest lessons is knowing as much as you possibly can about who you're going into business with. With the architect practice, I didn't really know the person that well. I didn't really ask many questions, because you don't know what you don't know. And the questions I would even go down into is their personal finances as well. You don't necessarily have to look at what's in their bank account, but is that person in a financial situation that could impact some decisions later on down the line? What are they like? What's their track record, etc.? And sometimes you have to make a punt. And to be honest, I jumped in the opportunity to own an architect practice, because before that I was working for the developer, my co-host. I was working for him as a subcontractor. Going into the architect practice, I just jumped into it because it was an opportunity. And I don't regret doing that, because I learned a lot about business and people and having a business partner, etc. But going into the next business venture, when I resign this year, I was like, that's my biggest lesson. But going into business with someone else is like vetting them and what's their track record, what are they like with money, are they, how ambitious are they, all that. I think that's so important when you join, because it's a marriage. You're going into a long term relationship and you want it to work. It's so important.
I completely agree. Like, the way I talk to people is going into business with someone is like a marriage, if not
Mm.
more.
Yeah,
You probably spend more time talking to your business partner than you do your wife or partner,
agreed.
life partner. You have a lot more at stake. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, in a marriage, you have potentially a house, kids, but at the beginning, you jump in with them and
Mm.
you see how long it works. You have a few months, you vet them. Then after a few years, maybe you decide to get married. Then you decide to get the house or whatever your kind of path is, but you do it over a progressive period of time.
Yeah.
With a business partner, you just said you had a coffee for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
You asked a few questions, but that's like on your first date proposing to someone
Yeah.
and going, "Yep, let's get the house. Let's get
Boom.
married. We're going to the Bahamas."
AKA company's house registration. That's the marriage forms right there.
Exactly, and you've done that within a few hours. So
Yeah.
it's quite a big thing, and it's quite a
Yeah.
scary thing that I don't think people quite realise. So yeah, seeing that is quite an interesting one.
Yeah. That's one of my biggest lessons out of that business, was obviously, aside from the people and running the accounts and architecture, etc., and property, is choosing a business partner wisely and asking more questions on the next. So that's what I did for this one now. I asked the questions that from my experience before.
Yeah.
Gives me more confidence and clarity that I'm making the right decision.
So we just asked you your biggest failure. Let's flip that then. What's been your biggest success?
There's actually quite a few. Winning some awards that, even though they are very much they're very like an ego thing, if you like. But my favorite award that I won was Networker of the Year in 2023 in Birmingham. So I was voted Birmingham's best networker, if you like. And I'd put so much effort and late nights, early mornings. I did 157 networking events in 1 year. Yeah, in-person networking events. So it is about 6 a week sometimes. Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. So like, I lived off canapes, no word of a lie, that year. Breakfast, lunch, dinners didn't help my waistline. But like, I did like so many events. I got very well known within the city. But I did events all around the country. Like, my furthest event I went to was like the Isle of Wight. Like, I just did everywhere and everywhere. I went to the opening of an envelope, literally, because I just wanted to get well known. I wanted anyone to ever think of architect or CGIs, go to Shane. I wanted to be, and that's why 2024 was a snowball effect. Like, the business just didn't stop coming.
Right.
And I thought it would dry up, but it just didn't. It just carried us through the whole year from just networking. I got nominated and then shortlisted for Network of the Year, and then I won the award November 2023, and that felt really good, because it was like all that hard work. Even though it's a thing just on my shelf, it was recognition, and I thought that was quite nice.
That's
Yeah,
it. It's like you did all that hard work and you've got something to say. Yeah, you did. You smashed it.
yeah,
And that's almost quite nice because it's your peers as well.
yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, and it was really nice. And the next thing that I'm quite proud of today is my book, 32 at 32, Simple Lessons, Big Impact. And I did that very quickly, which is a bit weird. I've always wanted to write a book on networking, and I was like, I'm going to write this book as a sort of trial on how to write a book. And before my 32nd birthday, I was on my normal morning walks, and I think it was about 2 weeks before my 32nd birthday, and I decided to like write down like what I've actually learned in 32 years, like what have been some of my like biggest lessons, what's helped me out that could help others. So just over the next few days and the next 2 weeks, I decided to write down just the things that I've learned, just 32 points of things that I've learned and lessons that have carried me over the past few years and that will carry me forward, that I think would benefit other people. And I wrote them down, and then I turned them into social media posts. So I wrote like lesson one, and I posted. So I started on my birthday, Sunday, September the 8th last year, and then every single day for 32 days, I posted all the lessons. And then I got some really like positive like feedback. People would comment them saying like, "Really love that. That's brilliant. Like that's really helped me out. I needed to read that today, etc." And then I decided sort of halfway through that posting journey, I'm going to actually put this into a book and expand on the lessons with real world examples. So I did that, and then I decided to write the book sort of mid September. I'd had it finished in about December, and then it got published on like the 22nd of Jan this year. And then that got to Amazon #1 bestseller in 2 categories, which I was quite proud of that as well. And that was through building a network, because I sent it to everyone that I knew and they bought it. Well, I did like a special promotion, like if you buy it for 99p, I'll send you an actual physical signed copy. So people wanted a signed copy, so that's what got me to Amazon #1. But I was proud because I beat the Pope,
Right.
because I think we released the same week. So I beat the Pope's book sales. So I was quite
Wow.
just under Simon Squibb as well, which is I did message him, but he didn't reply. No,
I mean, that is pretty cool, writing a book. So did you publish it yourself?
I did. Yeah, I published it. I did go to some publishing houses, and they liked it. I sent them the transcript. They liked it, but they said we'll do it on a hybrid publishing model, which means they will put forward some of the capital. They'll do some promotion, but I'd have to spend some money with them, which is, I guess, a fair ask if I'm a bit of an unknown. And like, I wanted to get it out there in January, and to go to some of the bigger publishers, I would have had to wait a bit longer for them to like read it and review it. But the hybrid model meant I would have had to pay anything between £4,000 to £7,000 up front, and then the royalties are so small off the back of that. So I was like, I'm just going to go through Amazon, have a self-publishing tool, and I just went through that.
Right.
Yeah. And I learned all about like different keywords and where to categorize yourself and subcategorize, etc. And then I learned about how to create a book cover. And then I did some people said to me, "Is it going to be released on Audible?" I didn't think about that. I was like, "Yeah, it is. Yeah." So I spent the first week in January recording an Audible version, and then I got that out I managed to get that edited and mastered for release in that January as well. So that was a quick turnaround. Yeah.
So it's on Audible as well.
It's on Audible.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you at every point think it wasn't going to work?
If I'm honest, I didn't care that much if it didn't. Like, obviously, I wanted it to be a bestseller and get out there because I'd put a lot of effort into it. But I thought, you know what? Creating a book is an asset, and it's an evergreen asset as well. I mean, there's Dan Priestley. He wrote some of his the Key Person of Influence bestseller. He wrote that 10 years ago. And it's only now over the past 2 years that he's made more money over the past 2 years than he ever did in his first 8 years. It's become I guess that's since being on the Diary of a CEO, etc. So, but I was like, you know what? Just to get a book out is really cool and something to show my parents and give to them as a gift. And that was really nice to see them. And my mum has it on her shelf in the living room, and it's just like, that's nice. Yeah, she has actually. Yeah. And my dad hasn't read it though. Well, he's read half of it. I think he just reads it when he's on the toilet. It's a good toilet book. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I said I didn't care, but deep down, it's like I wanted to get to #1. I wanted to get to #1 with a bit of a campaign. So that happened. But I did say to myself, well, if I don't get it to #1, am I still going to be happy? And the answer was yes. I would have been happy, because just to get something out for the first time ever, a physical book that I can hold in my hands, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say it's a pretty cool achievement. It's something that you've always got.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess you do have quite a lot of personal and work life that are entwined.
Yeah.
How do you split them, or do you split them?
I find it quite difficult to switch off, and it's something that, I've definitely struggled. I'm sure most entrepreneurs do struggle with it, if I'm honest. And I don't really believe in a work-life balance. I think when I was running the architect practice, I'd have to chip in sometimes at like 8 p.m. when something had gone wrong, or something or my business partner, he had to chip in when a client needed something ASAP, otherwise something was going to happen negatively. So how can you can't foresee certain things. So that's where like, well, how can you balance stuff? But I do think it is important to block out time in your diary to spend time with loved ones and but be intentional about it. So I have been better at that this year by blocking out certain times in my diary and spending time with my partner Caroline and like going on like date nights and stuff. And I watched it on the Stephen Bartlett's podcast when he had the founder of Netflix. The founder of Netflix, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was like every Tuesday without fail, that's mine and my wife's date night. Phones off, do not disturb, my sacred time. No matter what's happening in the world, it can wait till Wednesday morning. So I took a little bit of a leaf out of his book to do that.
I completely agree. I will own up and say I've not abided by it that much recently. Me and my wife always used to do like a date night once a month. We'd go out, we'd do something, we'd go somewhere. It used to be once a week, but having kids, it makes it a bit difficult.
Of course.
So that slowed down, and I'd say we just had our second kid, so that's even slower at the moment.
Of course.
But I completely agree. Like every relationship you have, friends, family, partner, kids, you have to work on it at all times.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it can slip away.
Well, of course, if you're attending to the business at some point, your relationships going down, like, you know, your attentiveness to relationship, when you're putting time into the relationship, you're not nurturing your business. So even though it might be like so subtle, you'll never notice it. That's why you're always chopping and changing, right? So it's where your focus is, and unless you're intentional and you literally plan as best you can, things will always crop up and things you'll have to like drop stuff at certain times. Of course, that's just part of life. But if you're intentional about it, and literally like what you said when you blocked out date nights and things like that, at least you're intentional. And there has been times this year when I've had a date night planned, but something's cropped up, and I've just, you know, you have to have a conversation, communicate with your partner, and say, look, really sorry, can't do it this night, but can we just change it to tomorrow night instead? So it's just about having that communication as well, which is quite important.
Another thing I've tried to do on that is change it to like, this is more important.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but this is more important than you. And then it changes your mind, like, actually, is it more important than you or not? Like, if you change your plans with someone, that is what you're telling them.
Yeah, of course.
They are not important. They are not as important as what the other thing you've got going on.
Yeah, we're spot on, and that can have a negative impact on that relationship then.
Especially if it's very regular.
Yeah, don't make it a habit, whatever you do. Because if you do it once, you think, oh, well, they didn't mind the first time, so they probably won't mind the second time or so. But actually, that can chip away negatively at that relationship then.
Yeah, going back to it, you're telling them every time they're not as important to all these things.
Is the world going to fall apart is the question I'd always ask myself.
Exactly. And the reality is it's not. There's never anything as important as what you are doing at that time.
Yes. Fun.
So if we're talking about people then, and important people, who has been your most important mentor?
There's been quite a few, if I'm honest. I can't think of one that just comes to mind as just being that one person, because there's been lots of people at certain times that have been mentors to me. So my partner has actually made a positive impact on my life. Before I met her, I would say I was overweight. I wasn't fit, like strong or anything like that. And meeting her actually, because I would consider myself in a lower league, if you if you like, before I met, because I met her traveling, I met her in Vietnam, and that made me like actually want to better myself. So from a personal point of view, I say my partner's always trying to get the best out of me, which I think is good. And sometimes it feels like it's when we sort of maybe bicker, sometimes it feels like she's actually bicker, but she's not. She's actually trying to get the best version out of me. So I always do thank her for that afterwards. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Yeah, I do actually really appreciate it. So yeah, my partner is instrumental in the personal side. I surround myself with positive business owners and entrepreneurs that I can always learn from. So the guy that took a chance on me, my co-host, obviously I learned a lot from him, of course, because he gave me that opportunity. Even my ex-business partner, like he took that chance on me as well and made me a little bit more ballsy. when it comes to business and go for it. And yeah, and then my nan as well. Yeah, she had the entrepreneurial mindset. She was just like, just go for it. You know, it's always some just go for it and not always settle for the safe option. Yeah.
Did your parents say the same thing? Just go for it.
My mum's always saying just go for it all the time. She's like, do it, go for it, go for it. My dad's very much like security minded, which is fine. Like he would be happy for me if I was working at like a 9 to 5 at a supermarket. He'd be happy because it's secure. So, no such thing as redundancies.
See, this is one that I find interesting.
Yeah.
Like, a secure job.
Yeah.
Somebody else has all control. If you have your own business.
Yeah.
And you have, let's take an accountancy practice, you've got 100 clients. That's 100 people that are paying you before you're in trouble.
Mm.
But if you're at a job, that one person above you goes, you're out. Like, but yet that one job is seen as secure, and working self-employed for 100 people is seen as really risky.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, on my way here today, the podcast episode I was listening to, you mentioned this, because it's about the mortgage as well, like how mortgages, like self-employed. Like actually, when you're in control, and the first person to go, people to go if you're in difficulty would be your staff, right? Because it's your business. And it's like, you're right. Like when you do own your own business, or you're even if you're self-employed from a consultative point of view or a builder, you do have control of your own destiny. Because it's up to you, isn't it, to go and get the business, what to charge, when to pay yourself, when to go on holiday, blah blah blah. But like, you are right. Like, I don't think you could argue that the public sector is a little bit safer, but there's still been redundancies in the past. Parts of public sector have collapsed, and I mean, Birmingham Council's not in a great position at the moment, as I'm sure we've been in the news. But you're absolutely spot on. It's like, I would argue that having a 9 to 5 traditional job is more riskier than going out on your own and creating your own destiny and your own luck.
I think it's just,
even though it can be scarier.
Without upsetting people, it's scarier, and it's easier to do that on your own, do that as a job. Have somebody else tell you what to do is a lot easier than going out and doing it yourself. When you're out on your own, you've got to find out how to do the accounts, how to do the HR, how to do the advertising marketing, how to do business development. You are literally on your own. Whereas when you get a job, you're told, these are the procedures, follow suit, do what you're told to do, and we'll do that 9 to 5 days a week.
Yeah.
We'll see you in a few years when you get upset and want a promotion or you want a change. Keep to the rules.
Yeah.
Which is what schools teach us.
Yeah, and we all know that the school system's old and broken, and like, that's a whole podcast episode, that is, isn't it? I mean, my uncle worked at the Jag Land Rover, and I know they've been going through difficulties recently, but he worked like, he's retired now, but he worked there for like over 25 years, nearly 30 years. And you know what he got at the end of it? An iron as a gift. I mean, he got a catalogue and he could pick whatever, but he needed a new iron. He picked, for over 25 years of service, he got an iron. No thanks.
No, you could get an iron.
Go to Argos and borrow 20 quid.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
I'll buy my own iron, thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could go right back to the beginning, would you go on the same journey again?
Yeah, and I always wish I'd done it sooner. Yeah, definitely.
That'd be the only difference.
I think so. Yeah, I think I would have liked to have gotten into entrepreneurship like as soon as possible, like 16, 18.
But if you had have done it at 16, would you have been mentally in the same place?
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? I mean, maybe it would have been easier because I would have had my parents to fall back on, to like live, no mortgage, all that sort of stuff. The younger you are, you can take more risks, can't you? So that's why I would have preferred, because I can be way, way more riskier. And you can imagine, like, I'm 33 now, and imagine all that business learning another 10 years. I mean, I only got into business really at the age of like 29 or 28, 29. Yeah. So imagine if I started at like 18, 19. That's 10 years more experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously earlier the better for sure. But I mean, I definitely wasn't in that mindset when I was younger. I mean, I was sitting in my pants playing Xbox.
Yeah. Up all night trying to play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
That's all I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. That's it.
So on that then, in the future, where do you see yourself?
I would have liked to have built, let's say, for instance, 10 years from now, built a profitable business that I've managed to scale, and that'll be a subscription based business. And I want to. We've already decided that we want to sell that business as well. So we build it, we sell it, and then with those profits, go and start something else that we're interested in, and build a property portfolio as well. To build a pension and build wealth, and travel more as well. I mean, I've done lots of traveling, but I want to travel more.
What would be your one destination if you had a choice of
I'd like to go to explore South America. I've not been. I actually want to retire in Vietnam. I want to move out there. I want to live there. Yeah,
never been?
yeah. It's
I heard
phenomenal,
good things,
phenomenal country.
but never been.
Yeah,
So maybe I'll come and see you.
highly recommended. We'll enjoy a matcha latte together.
Fine. Deal. On a beach.
Sounds good.
At the end, I know you're aware of this, but
Yeah.
what we do is these conversation cards. So we choose one each. We ask each other the question, and then we'll go from there.
Great.
So what I'll just do,
Okay. So is this yours or mine?
that's a question you were asking me. Change mine slightly a few times.
Hmm.
Do you want to go first or second?
Yeah. 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 I'll read yours if you want. Okay. This is a good one. What is the crazy big idea you would try if you could not fail?
Crazy big idea. I would try.
Question that.
That's a tough question. There's a lot.
So much you could answer with that, right?
There is, but equally, like as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, like there's a lot that I just do. So if there's something that I'm like, oh, I'm going to try that, I kind of try it. Always do a podcast.
Yeah.
Just for let's see, let's try it. So the crazy big idea, I guess. So one thing me and my business partner always wanted to do originally was to build like a hub.
Hmm.
So we were going to build business hubs. So you'd come in, you'd have like almost like spokes coming off, and you'd have the main business, I guess, network room where everyone's working collaboratively. This was before COVID and before it became popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everyone's co-working, and then you'd have an accountancy firm, a legal firm, HR, all of the different sort of business support you could get. And then you can go to each one for support, and then you're focusing on your business in the middle. So like an entrepreneur's hub. That's what I always wanted to do. That's what I thought would be the best thing to do. It seems like people are doing it at the moment, and it's becoming more popular now.
Yeah.
So maybe I will do it one day, but just not yet.
Yeah. There is all these little hubs that are cropping up in like some of the West Midlands towns, like Wolverhampton and Dudley, where there will be like a co-working space, if you like, and there's little business hubs in each one, and there'll be a podcast studio, there'll be like a yoga studio, and then there'll be like a place for the business to get together. They'll do like a Friday breakfast networking event with the people that are all in the building to come up with ideas and stuff. But yeah, maybe you could start it within your own. Is this a village? Are we in a village?
We are in the village.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to start in the village.
not sure it'd work in the village, but could definitely try and do Milton Keynes.
Yeah, Milton Keynes. Yeah,
we do have things like that West Entrepreneurs Hub, which is really good. I know there's one in Coventry as well, I think. I guess it's a similar kind of thing to them, or the Barclays Eagle Labs.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, that would be mine.
Brilliant. Love it. Yeah.
So what 5 entrepreneurs, dead or alive, would you have for dinner?
Ryan Reynolds. I absolutely love. He is a master entrepreneur. I love what he's done with Wrexham and the gin, aviation gin. I think he's brilliant.
I think he's quite a character anyway.
And he's a character. Yeah. He's so good. I'd have him. I'd have Dale Carnegie, even though he's dead, because he's been a massive influence in how I network. And yeah, so he's the author of How to Win Friends and Influence People, and he's written a load of other books as well. I would also have, yeah, I really like Daniel Priestley as well. I've learned a lot from him,
And he's written a few books.
and he's written some, yeah, fantastic books.
Had multiple businesses as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's got loads of business, hasn't he? He's got, well, Dent Global is his business, isn't it? And then the other two. I mean, the other two would, there's the usual Stephen Bartlett's and Alex Hormozzi's, because they're like the business Avengers, aren't they, at the moment? But there's so many others that are amazing. I mean, the guy, like someone like Tom Wagner, who owns, is he owner or is he investor? Birmingham City Football Club. I'm not a Birmingham City Football Club fan, but what he's doing and what he's done with the club is so ambitious, and obviously he's a billionaire. And probably someone like Gary V, actually, it'd be quite good. Or Tim Hayden. Have you heard of Tim Hayden? So Tim Hayden grew. In fact, yeah, Tim Hayden, because I've actually had him on my podcast before.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, and he started a watch brand from his kitchen, and he's grown it globally now. And now he's in partnership with Gary V, and he started it during COVID.
Wow.
And he sold his house, and all the money he got from his house, he just rented a place for cash flow. And then he's grown a global watch brand. It's called Hagley West Watches, and he's a Villa fan as well. So, but yeah, those are the five that I'd have. So,
to be fair, I do like Villa at the moment.
yeah,
After drawing with Arsenal,
yeah.
anyone that beats Arsenal or causes upset to Arsenal.
Yeah, it was good. And you know what? I actually, just on the topic of football and business. Now, I'm actually not massively into football. Villa are my team. I grew up with them, my dad, etc. But what I really like is the business around football. And actually, the more so in fact, the networking I went to last night was called Villa Works, and it's Villa's own business networking event that they put on. And it's a free event. And if you're a business owner, you can like turn up, and it's to engage the local business community. Obviously, they will run it in their hospitality suite, so you can see what it's like. But there's no speakers; it's very informal. There's food, there's drink. There's so many like different businesses that are there. I met a guy yesterday that's an investor in the movie industry, and he goes to like Cannes every year, and he was telling me how royalties work in the movie industry, and how like a lot of the producers that you'll see on the credits, all those producers, there'll be like 10 producers, 8 of them will be, actually they won't lift a finger, they'll just would have invested a couple of million quid to become a producer. But that gets you into the ultra high net worth club then for other movies, and you get to network with other producers, if you like. And just meeting someone like that is brilliant. So this is what I like. And then Birmingham City Football Club are doing it. West Bromwich Albion Club and Wolves, they've just started their own business networking events. And I really like that. It's such a good initiative.
I guess you're quite lucky you've got all of them pubs around you.
Yeah.
You've got the MK Dons.
Yeah. Do they do anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of. So I probably need to reach out to them.
Hey, that's where to start your business hub.
Yeah.
Your entrepreneur hub.
At the Don Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a hell of a stadium.
That's lovely.
Like one of the best stadiums, certainly in the league. I don't know what league they're in now.
Yeah.
We won't dispose that. Hopefully they go back up.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, I do like that. As you say, like football brings so much to everyone.
Yeah. I mean, apart from the joy of the fans, etc., like it brings a lot to the actual local businesses in the communities as well. If you look at how much, let's just talk about the top 2 clubs in Birmingham, like Villa and Birmingham City, right? Like the investment that Birmingham's getting, they're building like a new sports quarter that they unveiled a few weeks ago. And that's like £1 billion investment. And that to bring like international, because I don't know if you've ever seen this, but I've noticed it being from Birmingham, is the amount of, like, let's say for instance, like Oasis, when they did a tour, they'll go to Manchester, they'll go to Edinburgh, they'll go to London. Birmingham's the second biggest city. It's always getting missed off the map because we don't have these world-class stadiums. Obviously, Black Sabbath played at Villa Park, but that's because Ozzy's a Villa fan. But, Birmingham always seems to get missed. And I think this new £1 billion investment is going to bring some of this, international rock stars, etc., and pop stars to Birmingham.
And you've got like the NEC, you've got like Yeah, I mean, I've been to Birmingham for gigs as well.
Yeah,
So
it's got the utility arena and that,
yeah,
but they all seem to skip it. Some like, Oasis, for instance, they didn't come to Birmingham. They went everywhere but Birmingham.
yeah,
Yeah, so I'm just wondering why.
we need to put Birmingham more on the map.
Yeah, too right.
I mean, Manchester, it's just had so much investment. It's
God,
just
yeah. Every 5 minutes there's a new skyscraper going up.
yeah, yeah. That's London away from London.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah, it's fun.
is there anything that I haven't asked you that you thought I would?
No, I think you've done a great job of sound like Donald Trump there, doesn't I? No, I think you've covered, yeah, everything, unless there's something
No, I don't think so.
you're
So
intrigued.
I guess we'll close it there then.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank you for
much.
coming on.
Thank you.